Good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here on this Friday afternoon. It's been quite a week, hasn't it? It's been quite a week in the world. It's been quite a week for each of us. I'm so grateful for you joining this afternoon to talk about all things coaching, what it means to be a coach and what that path might look like for you if you're interested in becoming a full-time coach as your business, or maybe you're thinking of doing it as something on the side, or you're thinking of getting some coaching training so you can use coaching skills in your current position. So we'll talk about what all those possibilities might look like. If you have some specific questions you want to make sure I address, please do drop them in the comment section. Not only that I can address them live, I can also follow up with you after this is over. The video gets memorialized on my Facebook page, and I can go back and add comments. If you have requests for particular resources, I can come back and share those for you. And also, I've noticed in such a beautiful, grateful way that people are sharing the videos after the live, so people get to look through the comments and benefit from your questions and your insight. So if you have any questions, any insights, if you're a coach yourself, you want to share your experience, I encourage all of that so we can all benefit. I thank you for being with me all week. I thank you for your patience as I figure out how to maneuver the world of live streaming. You have been so gracious and supportive and helpful in making this what it is. The videos are being shared around for people to benefit and connect with one another. So I'm so grateful for that. I am so grateful that my dear friend and my own coach just joined us, Betsy. So she will have lots of wonderful insight. She might be sharing it, she might not be, we'll see. I haven't talked to her about this yet, but part of my vision for next week is maybe doing some live coaching sessions so people can have an opportunity to see what coaching is like. There's no one better than Betsy at doing that. So she doesn't know I'm going to ask her that yet, but I'm so grateful she's here. And if there are any other current coaches in the room, to please share your own insight and experience so people can benefit from that. Good afternoon, Amanda. So good to see you. So this is our last live stream of the week, and it's been a wonderful journey. I'm going to take a deep breath when I'm done with my last live stream this afternoon on Twitter, and then I'm going to get my schedule in order for next week. I am going to continue doing lives. I would love your feedback in terms of topics you're interested in and also timing. So 1 o'clock does work well for me. It might not work well for everyone. I think I'm going to get off of the live streaming in the other platforms and Twitter and Instagram. I'm still figuring all that out, but it seems like Facebook is really where the concentration of people is. So we'll be doing our lives here, and I am very open to topic suggestions that you have, and if other times might be better for you. There's all kinds of ways to be flexible, right? Because that's what we're being called to do during this time. So today, once again, my name is Catherine Spinney. I am from Catherine Spinney Coaching. So I'm going to be talking about what that's like to be a coach running your own coaching business. And also, if you're interested in coaching, but maybe not to the extent of running your own business, what some of those options might look like. So thank you for being here. Again, drop your questions and comments and experiences in the chat so we can make this as valuable as possible for you. We are scheduled for 30 minutes. I've been working on getting my timing right, but hopefully I will honor that. Sometimes I keep going over, but I'm also very happy to hang around and answer some questions if you have some specific questions. So let's talk coaching. It does seem nowadays like everybody became a coach all of a sudden, right? And with this influx of social media, this has certainly contributed to that. So if you look at people's social media profiles, it's very common to see this combination of I'm a coach, I'm a consultant, I'm a trainer, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an influencer, right? There's all these words that we are seeing over and over again. And it almost makes you wonder, like, how did everyone become a coach all of a sudden? And why is everybody becoming a coach all of a sudden? So we're going to talk today about what coaching actually is. There's still a lot of misperceptions because it is a relatively new field. So we're still learning what coaching is. And while it seems to be everywhere, there is also a lot of misunderstanding about what it is. So we're going to clarify what coaching is. Then we're going to talk about your options if you want to try out coaching as a recipient to see what it feels like to be coached. And then if you are interested in becoming a coach, what some of your options are. I want to reiterate that the goal is a quick 30-minute overview where we're going to go more in depth in further sessions. So this is like any career path. There's so many options. So we're not going to be able to hit on every option, obviously, but we are going to do an overview of what it might look like should you choose to follow a path in coaching. So first and foremost, let's clarify what coaching is and what coaching isn't. So coaching does fall under yes, Dawn, we will get to the what's the difference between a coach and a trainer. And yes, they are different. And we are talking about this. I want to be clear because the terms get confusing. You have the athletic, physical side of being like an athletic coach and an athletic trainer. And then you have the professional development side of being like a life coach or an executive coach and a professional development trainer. So I do want to be clear, this is not the physical athletic coach and trainer side. So Dawn, I hope that we were on the same page about that if I wasn't clear before. But in terms of the non-athletic coach and trainer, for the professional development coach and trainer, yes, it's different. So we're going to talk about what that difference is. So what coaching is and isn't. Coaching falls under this big umbrella of other helping fields, right? So there's all these different sectors whose function is to help other people reach their goals. So you have fields like consulting and mentoring and therapy and counseling and coaching, and probably lots of others, but those are some of the big ones. And we are all similar in the sense that our mission is to work with people and organizations to help them reach their goals. However, each of those fields is unique, and that includes coaching. So it's really important for you to understand what coaching is in order to decide if this is the path you want to pursue. So at the very core and foundation of coaching, the role of a coach is to support their client. So whether that client is a one-on-one individual, whether it's a group, whether it's an organization, the goal of a coach is to help you develop your own plan and your own insights to reach your own goals. And this is where there's a lot of confusion. So coaching is almost like the anti-consultant or the anti-advice giver, because with a consultant, what happens a lot of times is someone contracts with a consultant and they say, here's our issue, let's talk to the people who work here and let's try to figure out how to solve this problem. And the consultant figures out all the details and they come back to the organization and say, here's my advice, here are my recommendations, here's what I think you should do to fix this problem. This is not what coaching is. In fact, it's almost the polar opposite of what coaching is. What coaching is it is a partnership. Okay, it's not a hierarchical relationship. It's a partnership between coach and client. And again, that client can be an individual, it can be a group, it can be an organization, but it is a partnership to help that client reach the goals they set for themselves by accessing what they already have. The mantra of coaching that you will hear again and again is the belief that people are already resourceful, creative, and whole. So coaches' jobs is not to fix people. It's not to tell them what to do. It's to help people realize that they have the answers, and sometimes they just need a little bit of support or advocacy or encouragement to get there. So the way that coaching works is coaches are trained to ask a lot of questions and to make observations and to help people think about things in a way they maybe haven't thought about them before. But if you were thinking about being a coach because you love to give advice, go somewhere else, right? Coaching's not for you. That's more of a consultant or maybe a mentor, but we are the anti-advice people. Now, certainly, if we have resources or ideas that may be helpful, we are happy to share them with you. But our job is not you tell us the problem and we tell you what to do. We help you figure out how to do it. So it's a really powerful process because, as you may have experienced yourself, people don't really love getting advice for the most part from other people, even when they solicit it. So if you've been in this situation where someone's like, just tell me what to do. I'm having trouble with this relationship, this job, this financial situation. And as a friend, as a colleague, you say, well, here's what I think you should do. And the person's like, well, you don't know the whole situation and that's not going to work for me, right? We have this natural backlash when people give us advice, even when we ask for it. So the powerful process of coaching is that you're getting the advice out of the equation. And instead of the coach saying, here's what I think you should do, you're helping the client decide what they think they should do, right? And you support them in that process. You're there to be there with, sometimes use the word cheerleader or advocate, but you're also there to push them and challenge them and say, well, you're telling me you want this thing and I'm noticing you're doing this thing. What's going on with that? So that's what coaching is. If you are interested in really understanding what it is, whether you're just curious or maybe you are thinking of being a coach, or you might want to hire a coach for whatever goal you're trying to reach, I strongly encourage that you get coached. And many coaches will offer a free introductory coaching session so you can see if you're a good fit. And particularly during this time, I've noticed so many coaches, as their way of giving back, they're offering lots of coaching for free. And it's an opportunity for you to reach out to different coaches and say, and try it out, because every coach has their own style. It's like if you've ever worked with a therapist or a consultant or a mentor, you want to make sure that it's a good fit. So maybe you hit it right on the first try, but most people shop around, so to speak, to make sure they're finding someone who's a good fit. So I am also happy to meet with you one-on-one, virtually, by phone, and do a coaching session with you to see what you think of it and see if you like it and how that process is for you. So take advantage of this time to explore coaching as a recipient. If you are interested in becoming a coach, it's really almost a necessity so that you know what it's like to be coached and therefore what it's like to coach other people. So people who are coaches, myself included, I said my coach is on Facebook Live with us. I'm so grateful she's here. Continue to get coached throughout their careers as well, because obviously we see the value in it. That's why we're doing this. So we continue to receive our own coaching. So that's my recommendation to you. There's a lot of Facebook groups on where you can join and ask your questions and connect with other coaches. I'm a very active member of Coaches Helping Coaches, ! Because there's lots of versions of those titles. That's not the only group by any means, but you can join a Facebook group or other online groups and start to connect with other coaches. In my group, there's thousands of coaches in there. Some haven't gotten started yet, some are just getting started, and some have been doing it a really long time. So it's a great opportunity for you to connect with other coaches to see what their paths are and what you might want your path to be. So if you do decide to take the path to being a coach, here is where it gets exciting and a little bit overwhelming, because there are so many different paths for you to take. The reason that you're seeing so many coaches pop up nowadays is that as a field, it is largely unregulated at this point. So I mentioned in the beginning of the live that coaching compared to other professions is relatively new. So it kind of got its start back in the 1980s. I think folks were using coaching skills and being coaches without the terminology, but as a field, we attribute its beginnings to like the 1980s, which really wasn't that long ago. So it was starting to get its legs and build, and then all of a sudden, when it coincided with social media, it's like coaching everywhere. But part of that, and part of the reason is, it's a largely unregulated field, which means at this point in time, you can self-designate as a coach, and so you're a coach, right? That's not how it works in a lot of fields. So if you say you want to be an attorney, you can't just say you're an attorney. It doesn't work that way, right? Or if you want to say you're a CPA, or if you want to say you're a college professor or whatever, you can't just say that you are. You have to have some training and some credentialing to back it up. But currently, in 2020, that's not the case with coaching. So if you say, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and suddenly I'm a coach, then you are allowed to legally, ethically maybe is a different conversation, but legally you are allowed to say, today I'm a coach and this is the job I'm going to do. When you have a discussion in the coaching community, including Facebook groups or wherever you are, there is going to be really strong passion from people who say you have to get trained and certified to call yourself a coach ethically, right? It's not fair to your clients for you to say you're a coach if you have no training or certification. Then you're going to have this camp of people who are equally passionate, who say you don't need to be trained and certified. You have life experience and you can learn it and study and go through books and become a coach as you see fit. So I'm not going to add my 2 cents in today. I wouldn't be a very good coach if I did, but to say that there's implications of both paths. So the first thing for you to think about is, if you want to become a coach, do you want to go through the path of becoming a certified coach? So even though it's not required, there are paths for you to get certified if you so choose. So I chose the path to get certified for me, and that worked for me for a couple of reasons. One, I think, and from reading and studying the field, I think we will get to a point somewhere down the line. It might be sooner than later, it might be later than sooner, but I think we're going to get to a point where there is more regulation and people are going to demand that people are certified. We're not there yet, but I anticipate we will get there, so I wanted to already be on the path. The other reason is I do a lot of my work within organizations. And I haven't had any organizations yet demand that I'm certified, but it's hard to tell would they hire me or not if I weren't certified. It's hard to say, but I sure do share with everyone that I'm certified, and maybe that is what has gotten me through the door. I also wanted to make sure that I was receiving training that had already been vetted, that had some level of quality control, because I know this is an important role to take on anytime you're serving people and helping them grow. I wanted to make sure I was doing it in an ethical way and that I was getting trained appropriately. So that was the path I chose to take. So if you choose to take the path of certification, we'll talk about that, and then if you choose not to. So the path of certification also opens up a lot of options for you because there's a lot of different certifications that you can get. I'm not schooled in every single last one of them. What I can tell you objectively is that the biggest certification entity is called the International Coach Federation, ICF, and they are the group that certifies the most coaches, and they are the most widely recognized in terms of getting certified as a coach. Again, it's not your only path, but that is considered the most well-known and objectively the organization that certifies the most coaches. So that is the path that I took. Even within that path, there's levels. So the beginning level, when you become a certified coach, is where I am. It's called an ACC. You can move on to the second level, which is called a PCC. Then you can keep on going to what's called a master's coach at MCC. So there's all different ways to continue your certification and growth. If you go to the International Coach Federation's website, they spell everything out for you about what certification looks like. And the requirements to be certified through them is you have to take a certified training program. So when you go on their website, you can look at all the programs that are available to you. Many of them are in person, and some of them, I think a couple dozen, you can take online, which is what I did because it worked best for my schedule. The cost of taking a certified coaching program, right now, the cheapest that I have been made aware of is about $2,500. And the programs run all the way into like the tens of thousands of dollars as far as an ICF certified program. A lot of universities have certifications through their university, and those also run in the tens of thousands of dollars. So it is most certainly an investment. It's an investment of money as well as an investment of time, because there is a requirement for how long your training program needs to be. I think it's like a 4-month minimum, and other programs will go even longer than that. And after you take that training program and pay for it, that's not the beginning. You're not certified yet. So you are also required to receive training from a mentor coach that in almost all cases you also have to pay for. And you have to get 10 hours of coaching as a recipient. You also need to take the test, and that is, I think, $400 or $500 additionally to take the test and pass. And once you do all of that, then you become a certified coach for 3 years. So if you want to continue with that certification, you have to accumulate continuing education credits, which sometimes can be free, but often are at cost. And then when your 3 years is up, you have to pay the recertification fee, which is $400 or $500, something like that. So it is a significant investment of time and money if you want to go for the certified route of being a coach. So those are some considerations. Now, if you're not ready to commit to that level, there are, I want to say thousands, I don't know if that's true, let's say a lot of online coaching programs that will not get you to the path of certification. Sometimes they use the word certified, which kind of means like they're giving you a certificate that says that you've taken this program, but it does not, oh yes, Betsy, thank you. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. You also need to coach other people for 100 hours before you get certified. Oh my gosh, huge omission. Thanks, Betsy, for being here. So if you're not ready to invest yet in the full-fledged ICF certified coach route, there's okay, now I went to a million, right? There's a lot of choices for you online. So if you go to online courses like Udemy or Kajabi or all these places, Coursera, that offer online courses, you're going to see a lot about coaching. And a lot of them are like $29, $49, something like that, where you get to get an overview of what coaching is. You have some level of training, and you can say that you have been trained in coaching skills. And some people begin and end there. That's the training they want and need, and then they go on and start coaching, right? So there's a lot of other options for you if you don't want to become a full-fledged certified coach. But once you decide you want to learn about coaching, then you get to decide what do you want to do with that training and your new skill set. So some people continue their regular job and they just use their training to enhance the job they're already in, right? So a lot of people, like in the human resource field, in the human service field, they want to learn how to use coaching skills. They don't necessarily want to be a full-time coach as their job, but they want to learn the value and the benefit of using coaching skills. So they take these courses or these trainings so that they can bring that back to their offices. So that might be an option for you. I do a lot of study and research on the workplace, on how to support our staffs in the workplace. And particularly the younger we go, the more and more awareness there is around coaching and the bigger desire for it. So the older generations they didn't grow up necessarily with coaches being everywhere, so there's not as much understanding. But with the younger generations, they grew up in a world of coaching. They know what it is and they want it. And there's all this research that says, for millennials in particular, when they ask them, what are you looking for in a job? What makes you stay at a job? How do you want to be supported in a job? And 70% of them say they want coaching, right? So there's a big demand, even though it seems to be a big supply, there's a big demand out there for people who know how to coach effectively, whether they are a coach in title or they have learned some coaching skills to use with their staffs, right? Because their staffs are demanding it. They want to be coached and not bossed around, okay? So that's an option for you. But if you decide you do want to be a coach, then you have all those options to consider in what that would look like to be a coach as a profession. So some people choose to do it part-time. They keep their regular 9-to-5 salaried job, and then they do some coaching on the side, sort of like a side hustle or a second job. That is certainly a path that is open to you. Other people decide that they want to be a full-time coach, and that's all they want to do is coach. And in that case, you have an option of, do you want to start your own coaching business, Or do you want to be a full-time coach through somebody else's coaching business? And there is value in both depending on what your needs are and what your interests are. There are a lot of coaches who just want to coach. Every minute of every day, they want all their time and energy to go into coaching, and they don't have the desire or the interest to be building a business. So there's opportunity to be hired as a coach through an organization, through somebody else's coaching company. If you don't have interest in running a business, but you still want to coach, then that is an option for you. In any choice we make, there are pros and cons, right? So when you are your own self-employed coach, then all the money that comes in comes to you. A lot of it goes back out to your self-employment tax and your business licenses and your expenses. That will be another conversation for another day. But when you are coaching for someone else as an employee or even as a contractor, then you don't get all the money, right? So the flip side is they help you get clients. They give you an opportunity to coach, to not have to worry about setting up your own business, but they also take a cut of the fee. So that's something to consider. And then if you decide I am all in, I want to be a full-time coach, I want to start a coaching business, then there are all those considerations for you. In your business, do you want to coach exclusively? And a lot of coaches do that. I want to just coach and coach and coach 100%. That's what my business is. A lot of other coaches like me decide that they want coaching to be a central part of their business, but they also want to do other things. So Dawn, I finally got to your question about what is coaching and what is training. So a lot of coaches like me are also trainers. So we go into organizations, we work with community agencies, we go to conferences, we host our own conferences, and we train other people. Okay, so it can be related to your coaching, but it's really a separate thing. It can be part of your coaching business, but training is different than coaching, right? Coaching is you're working with a group as a coach and you're helping them reach their goals. Training is much more of a teaching modality, right? Where you're teaching a skill or a mindset, or you're working with a group to give them some knowledge around something. So it is separate, but you will see a lot of coaches like me who do both coaching as well as training. Other coaches in their business, there's so many things you can do with it. They write books, they speak, right? They do motivational speaking. They're keynote speakers at conferences. A lot of coaches also have courses, either live or recorded, where you can take their courses. A lot of them develop materials. I mentioned books, but also assessments or activities or journal, whatever, that they have ways to diversify what they're offering to their clients. So that is a lot because it is a lot. And so I want to take a minute to take a breath and show you some of my little swag, right? And I'm not just doing this to do a shameless plug. I'm doing this to tell you that I have chosen the path of a self-employed coach. This is my business. And all of a sudden I'm like making t-shirts and I have mugs and I'm doing Facebook Lives, and I'm like trying to figure out what my business is going to look like and how to best serve people. I have loved this process, but not everybody does. It's a lot to learn, especially if you haven't had an entrepreneurial background, which I have not. I've enjoyed the learning. I've struggled with the learning, but figuring out all the decisions that go with running a business, it's a lot. So it's a lot to think about if that's the path you want to take. And if you do, the good news is there's a lot of support around you to help you get there. I've received a ton of support myself. So I'm going to recap in a minute, but before I do, I would love to hear if you have any lingering questions, Betsy, or if there's any other coaches there. If I've forgotten anything else, please do drop it as a comment so people can learn. Also, need to coach for a minimum of hours. Right, I got that one. Okay. If there's questions that you have you want me to address either now or I can respond to your comment once this is over, you can also reach out to me here for future questions or comments. You can email me at coachkat@catherinespinney.com. The cat is with a K. I'd be happy to connect with you that way. If you are interested in getting a coaching session, I would love the opportunity to do that. I'm also going to try to do some live coaching sessions next week so you can see what that is. But if you have any questions or comments that you want to drop, please do. Also, if you have any particular trainings or discussions you would like to see next week, I'm still working around and playing with the schedule. I would love to get your input on that to be able to serve you in that way. So to recap, if you are interested in learning more about coaching, the first thing to keep in mind, the takeaway of what coaching is that it is the anti-advice, but it's a wonderful, facilitative, collaborative process where you work with clients to help them realize their own goals. So that's what coaching is, with the belief that clients are creative, resourceful, and whole, and they are not projects to be fixed, right? If you want to really get a deeper understanding of coaching, there's all kinds of books, of course, and webinars and blogs. The business side of coaching, sort of Bible, is called The Prosperous Coach. If you want to be reading about the process of coaching, Coactive Coaching is one of the most popular books in the field. And really, in addition to that, is getting coached, so you can really experience what that process is like, and getting coached by different people so you can really get a sense of what it's like. Copywriting, yes, I'll get to that in a minute, Amanda, thank you. And then once you get coached, then you can decide if you want to continue getting coached, right? If you find it valuable, and many of us do, then you can get a coach and start working with a coach. And I'm always happy to explore if I might be a good coach for you, and if not, how to connect you to someone who might be. And then if you decide you're ready for some training, you can make the decision if you want to start off with some smaller investment kinds of trainings in terms of time and money, or if you want to get certified. The International Coach Federation is one way to get certified. Again, there's many others. And whatever training you decide to take, if you then want to take those skills back to a job and continue working your job that is now enhanced with coaching skills, that is an option. If you want to explore coaching to get paid, you can do it as a side hustle, or you can do it as your full-time job. If you want to do it as your full-time job, you can work for somebody else, or you can start your own business. So there's a lot of ways to explore the world of coaching. I hope this gave you a good overview. If you have lingering questions, please do let me know so I can address them, and I can continue to help support you in your quest to maybe become a coach or get coached or learn more about coaching and how it might help you. I'm going to get to Amanda's questions. If you have to go, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your support this week. I hope you're taking care of yourself in this difficult time. This is where coaches can really support people, is trying to make sense of what's going on and get some peace with the situation situation we're in. I will be notifying everyone about next week's schedule. If you're not already on my email list and you would like to be, I'm going to drop the link so you can join, or you can drop your email and I will register you so you can know all about the trainings for next week. So I'm going to get to questions. If you have to go, by all means, thank you again for your time. Stay safe out there, and I'm going to hang out a little bit more for questions. And I'm going to speak to Amanda's question first. How have I managed copywriting for my work? Yeah, so this is really tricky, especially in the online world, because people are producing content all over the place, right? I have a blog, people are posting up materials, and there's a big concern and a big question about how to protect your work. So what I have been learning, Amanda, when it comes to copywriting and trademarking is a couple of things. And I say this with a huge disclaimer that I am not an attorney. So this is not verified legal advice to my lawyers out there. Please take note of that. I'm not sharing this in a legal way because it is a legal process. So, make sure you're double, triple, quadruple checking everything I'm saying, because there are legal implications. But what I've been learning about the copyright process, and then I'll get to the trademark process because I'm just at the tail end of getting my my stuff trademarked, which is a much more intensive process. So getting things copyrighted, if it is online, so if you have something like a blog and something you're posting on social media, there's a term I won't remember. If someone knows it, please share, that your stuff is sort of automatically copyrighted, that you kind of de facto own that stuff because you wrote it, it's on your blog, it belongs to you. So does that protect your stuff from getting taken? Of course not. My stuff has shown up in places you would not believe, right? So any process you go through is not going to 100% protect you from your stuff getting taken. What it does protect you from is having some avenue to address it. So if you know that someone is stealing your content and your content is copyrighted, then you have a leg to stand on to say, this was my stuff first. What my understanding of that is it is a huge, big, long process. So often people don't pursue it if something is taken. So that's a decision you need to make. But getting something copyrighted, it adds a level of protection, certainly, but it doesn't 100% protect you. With your other materials, if you're trying to get like books and written documents. Oh, and let me back up for a minute. So your online stuff, it is sort of like de facto copyrighted, but you can still go through the process of getting it officially copyrighted. And you can do it as sort of a bulk thing. You don't have to copyright each individual blog post, for example. There's a way to apply for a copyright for like your blog, right? So it's not in perpetuity. You have to continue to update, but you can copyright it. It's like another official layer of copyright protection. With your written documents, if you want to go through the copyright process, same thing. There's different categories that you have to apply for, but if you have a bunch of training materials, you don't have to copyright each and every one. There's ways to bulk where you can do them all at once. There is a cost, obviously, to anything we do with the government, so you have to pay for it. It's something like $20 for each batch, or don't quote me on that, but it's on the lower end of the scale to get copyrighted. On the other end, if you want things to be trademarked, so this tends to be more like a logo, or like for me, I'm getting my training module, the title and the theme of it is getting trademarked. This wouldn't be for individual pieces of documents that you're creating. That would be more on the copyright side, but the trademark side is like a slogan or a logo or a title, something like that is the trademark route. That's an intensive, more expensive route. So to apply, I think it was $225 for every category. And then if you want more than one, so for example, mine is, my leadership program is called Lead with Your Mind. And the MIND piece is an acronym. So I had to get 2 trademarks. The Lead with Your Mind, that's a trademark I just passed. And then the second one is Lead with Your Mind and spelling out each letter of the acronym. I had to file for a separate trademark. So that's a whole process there. And then you have to re-up it every 5 years. And then, well, maybe after 5 years and then again after 10 years. I'm still learning myself, but there is a process in place for you to protect your material. Betsy says many coaches have had their paid online training programs stolen and resold and had no recourse because they obtained no copyright. Right. So again, having the copyright doesn't prevent, it might prevent some people from stealing it. They see the symbol and then they say, forget it. But people can still steal it, but then you have a recourse. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you, Betsy. Then you have a recourse. If you do have it copyrighted and you have the paperwork, then you have a recourse against that person. Thanks so much, Betsy. Amanda, I hope that answered your question. If anyone has any other questions, please feel free to leave them now or later. I'm so grateful for your time. I'm so grateful for your time this week and today and figuring out how to make the most of this situation we're in. It's been so much easier for me to have this level connection with you. I wish I were with you in person to be doing this, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to do it this way. Please do stay tuned for what we're about to do next week. I'm still playing around with it. So if you have suggestions for topics you'd like to hear, I am all ears. If you're not part of our mailing list, I'll leave the link for you, or you can drop your email. I'll make sure you're on our mailing list. But thank you for your interest in coaching. It is a really powerful experience. It's a wonderful field to be a part of. I'd love to continue exploring that with you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your interest. Thanks for being here. Please do continue to be safe. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Please take care of yourselves out there, and I look forward to connecting with you soon. Thank you.